The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Nathan Cross's penthouse, each drop a bullet against glass. Victoria Sterling stood in the center of the marble foyer, soaked through, her thrift store blazer clinging to her shoulders like defeat. She shouldn't have come. Nathan appeared from the shadows, all sharp angles and tailored indifference. His suit probably cost more than her entire existence. Dark eyes swept over her, calculating, cold. "You're late." "I walked. Couldn't afford the cab." Victoria lifted her chin, refusing to apologize for her poverty. Something flickered across his face. Respect, maybe. Or contempt. With men like him, it was hard to tell the difference. "Sit." She didn't move. "Tell me why I'm here first." Nathan's jaw tightened. He wasn't used to being challenged. Good. Let him be uncomfortable for once. "I need a wife. 1 year. $2 million. No strings, no feelings, no complications." He pulled a folder from his desk, dropped it on the glass coffee table. "You need money. I need someone who won't fall in love with me." Victoria's laugh was bitter glass in her throat. Confident. Realistic. "I've had 3 women try to trap me into marriage this year alone. You're different." "How?" "You're desperate enough to be honest about it." The words should have stung. Instead, they felt like relief. No pretty lies. No false hope. Victoria opened the folder. The contract was clinical, detailed, brutal in its clarity. Marriage. Public appearances. Separate bedrooms. Termination clause after 12 months. Why me specifically? Nathan moved closer, and she caught his scent, expensive cologne and something darker underneath. Whiskey. Sleeplessness. Rage carefully bottled. Because you gave up everything for your art. Your family. Your trust fund. Your future. You understand sacrifice. He paused, eyes boring into hers. And because when I researched you, I found someone who doesn't believe in fairy tales anymore. You stalked me. I was thorough. Victoria should have walked out. Should have told him to take his blood money and choke on it. But the eviction notice in her bag felt like a noose tightening. What's in it for you? Really? Nathan's smile was a knife edge. Let's just say I have something to prove. And you're going to help me prove it. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. She stared at the contract. $2 million. 12 months. Her soul already felt dead anyway. What was one more piece of it? No feelings, she said. None. No expectations. Just a performance. Victoria picked up the pen, her hand steady despite everything screaming at her to run. The signature felt like a surrender. Nathan watched her sign, something unreadable crossing his features. Relief? Triumph? Regret? Welcome to the arrangement, Mrs. Cross. The title tasted like poison and salvation all at once. He turned toward the window, dismissing her already. But Victoria saw it. The slight tension in his shoulders. The way his hand curled into a fist before relaxing. Whatever game he was playing, he wasn't as unaffected as he pretended. When? She asked. The wedding? Tomorrow. Courthouse. 9 a.m. Where something that doesn't look like you found it in a dumpster. The cruelty was deliberate. Armor. She recognized it because she wore the same kind. Anything else, husband? Nathan glanced back, and for one heartbeat, she saw past the ice. Saw something raw and wounded and terrified. Then it was gone. Don't make me regret this. Victoria walked to the door, stopped with her hand on the handle. Too late. We both already do. The door closed behind her, and Nathan stared at his reflection in the window. Behind him, James emerged from the study. The bet's in motion? Yes. Marcus will lose everything. And the girl? Nathan's reflection showed nothing. She's a means to an end. Nothing more. But his chest felt tight, and his father's voice echoed in his head, "Be careful what you use people for, son. Sometimes the cost is higher than you think." Outside, Victoria stood in the rain, contract clutched to her chest. She'd just sold herself to a man made of ice and rage. And somehow, she'd seen something in his eyes that looked exactly like her own reflection. This was either the biggest mistake of her life or the only honest thing she'd done in years. The courthouse smelled of old paper and other people's broken promises. Victoria signed her name beside Nathan's, and the official pronounced them married in 47 seconds. No flowers. No guests. Just a photographer Nathan hired to make their lie look beautiful. "Kiss her," the photographer called. "Make it convincing." Nathan's hand cupped her face, clinical and cold. His lips touched hers for exactly 3 seconds. Empty. Controlled. But Victoria felt the tremor in his fingers before he pulled away. The penthouse was glass and steel and expensive emptiness. Everything sharp angles and surfaces too pristine to be real. "Your room." Nathan gestured down a hallway that felt like a museum corridor. "Stay out of my office. Stay out of my way. We appear together for public events. Otherwise, we're strangers who share an address." "Understood." She moved toward her designated cage, but his voice stopped her. "Victoria." She turned. "Don't make the mistake of thinking this is anything but business." "I'm not thinking anything. I'm surviving." Something flickered in his eyes. Almost respect. Almost human. 3 weeks passed in careful distance. They orbited each other like planets in cold rotation. Nathan worked 18-hour days. Victoria painted in her room, trying to ignore how the penthouse felt like a beautiful morgue. Until the night she found him on the balcony at 3 a.m., staring at the city like it held answers he'd stopped believing in. "Can't sleep?" She shouldn't have approached. Shouldn't have cared. "I don't sleep much." His voice was raw, unguarded. "Sleep means dreams. Dreams mean remembering." "Remembering what?" He looked at her then. Really looked. And Victoria saw past the armor for the first time. "I used to be someone who believed in things. Before I learned better." She stepped closer, drawn by recognition. "What happened?" "Juliet Morrison. My fiancée." The name came out like poison. "I gave her everything. Access to my company, my plans, my heart. She smiled while she kissed me, then sold every secret to my biggest competitor. Nearly destroyed me. I'm sorry. Don't be. She taught me the most valuable lesson." His knuckles whitened on the railing. "Love is a weakness that gets exploited. Trust is a weapon people use to destroy you." Victoria's chest tightened. "Is that why you're doing this? Marrying me to prove you can't be hurt if you never feel anything?" Nathan's laugh was bitter. "I'm doing this because Marcus Rothschild bet me $5 million that I couldn't make someone fall in love with me. He thinks I'm incapable. He's right." The words hit like a slap. "You married me for a bet. I married you for a business deal. The bet is bonus." He turned to face her fully. "When the year's over, you get your $2 million. I get my father's contracts back. We both walk away exactly as empty as we started." Victoria should have been furious. Should have felt used. Instead, looking at this man who'd armored himself so completely he'd forgotten how to be human, she only felt sad. "You're wrong about one thing." "What's that?" "You're not incapable of feeling. You're just terrified of it." Nathan's jaw clenched. Careful, Victoria. Our contract doesn't include psychoanalysis. No. It includes honesty. She held his gaze. And honestly, the person who hurt you the most isn't Juliet. It's you. She walked inside before he could respond, but she felt his eyes burning into her back. Felt the crack in his armor widening. That night, Nathan stood in Victoria's doorway, watching her paint. She worked in an old shirt, hair wild, completely absorbed. Beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with performance. What are you painting? His voice startled her. Cages. She didn't turn around. Different kinds. Some have bars. Some are made of glass. But they're all prisons. Nathan walked closer, studying the canvas. The brushstrokes were violent and tender at once. Desperate and controlled. You're talented. Don't sound so surprised. I'm not. I researched you, remember? I know you gave up everything to pursue this. Victoria finally looked at him. Is that why you chose me? Because I'm already broken? I chose you because you understood the terms. Liar. The word hung between them. Dangerous and true. You chose me because I'm like you, Victoria continued, her voice soft and cutting. Someone who learned that hoping for anything real only leads to disappointment. You wanted someone who wouldn't expect your heart because she doesn't believe in hers anymore either. Nathan's hand caught her wrist, paint-stained and trembling. Stop. Stop what? Telling the truth? Stop making this complicated. But his thumb traced circles on her pulse point. And Victoria felt her heartbeat betray her with its acceleration. Nathan, what are we doing? Following the contract. The contract doesn't cover this. He released her abruptly, stepping back like she'd burned him. You're right. It doesn't. Forget this happened. He left. And Victoria stared at her painting of cages, wondering which one she'd just locked herself inside. Her hand still tingled where he'd touched her. And somewhere in the penthouse, Nathan stood with his back against his bedroom door, heart hammering against his ribs. He'd felt something. And feeling anything at all was the one thing he couldn't afford. The charity gala dripped with old money and older grudges. Victoria wore emerald silk that made her eyes look like stolen jewels. Nathan's hand rested on her lower back, possessive and warm. They were playing their parts perfectly. Mr. Cross, Mrs. Cross. Marcus Rothschild approached, scotch in hand, malice in his smile. Marriage suits you. Almost looks real. Nathan's grip on Victoria tightened. It is real. Of course. Marcus's eyes slid to Victoria. Tell me, my dear, how does it feel to be married to a man incapable of love? Victoria smiled, sweet as poison. I wouldn't know. I married Nathan. Something dangerous flashed across Nathan's face. Pride, maybe. Or something deeper. Marcus laughed. Careful, Cross. She's got claws. Might actually be a match for you. After he walked away, Victoria felt Nathan's breath against her ear. You didn't have to defend me. I wasn't defending you. I was defending us. She turned to look at him. Even if it's fake, it's ours. Nathan stared at her like she'd spoken a language he'd forgotten he knew. The music swelled. He pulled her onto the dance floor without asking. His hand found her waist. Hers settled on his shoulder. They moved together, and it felt like falling. When I was 8, Nathan said suddenly, quietly, my father took me to a gala like this. He told me that every person in this room was playing a role. The trick was figuring out who they really were underneath. Did you ever figure it out? I figured out that most people are exactly who they pretend to be. The masks become the face. Victoria's fingers tightened on his shoulder. What about you? Who are you under the mask? Nathan's eyes held hers. I don't know anymore. Maybe that's the problem. You've been pretending for so long, you forgot you're allowed to be real. Real gets you destroyed. So does being alone. The song ended. They stood there, still holding each other, the ballroom fading around them. Nathan's thumb brushed her cheekbone. Victoria. Don't. Her voice cracked. Don't say something you'll take back tomorrow. What if I mean it? That's worse. They drove home in silence, the city lights bleeding past the windows. In the elevator, tension coiled between them like smoke. Nathan's penthouse felt different tonight. Charged. Dangerous. Want a drink? He asked. Yes. He poured them both whiskey, neat. Their fingers brushed when she took the glass. Tell me something true, Victoria said. Something you've never told anyone. Nathan drank, considering. I bought this penthouse because from the balcony, you can't see the cemetery where my father's buried. I couldn't handle the reminder that the only person who ever believed in me is gone. Victoria's chest ached. He'd be proud of what you've built. He'd be ashamed of what I've become. What have you become? Someone who married a stranger to win a bet. Someone who uses people as chess pieces. Nathan set down his glass. Someone who's terrified that if he lets himself feel anything, it'll break him completely. Victoria moved closer. Maybe being broken isn't the worst thing. It is when you don't know how to put yourself back together. Then don't. Let someone help. Who? You? Why not me? Nathan's hand found her face, thumb tracing her lower lip. Because you're the most dangerous person I've ever met. Why? Because you make me want to try. He kissed her then. Not the clinical courthouse kiss. Not performance. Real. Victoria tasted whiskey and want and something like hope. Her hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, drowning in him. Nathan broke away, breathing hard. This isn't in the contract. I don't care. Victoria, if we do this, everything changes. Maybe it already has. He kissed her again, deeper, backing her against the window. Glass cold against her spine, Nathan burning against her front. When they finally surfaced, foreheads pressed together, Victoria whispered, "What does this mean?" I don't know. Nathan's voice was raw. I just know I can't pretend anymore. Pretend what? That you're just a contract. That I don't think about you constantly. That I'm not terrified of how much I've started to need you. Victoria's heart shattered and rebuilt itself in the same breath. Nathan. I'm still the man who married you for a bet. I'm still broken. I still don't know if I can be what you need. I don't need you to be anything but honest. Then honestly? He pulled back to look at her. I'm falling for you. And it's the most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me. Victoria smiled through sudden tears. Good. Because I'm falling too. They stood there, two broken people who'd found something real in the ruins. Then Nathan's phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. With a curse, he checked it. His face went white. What is it? Nathan looked up, and Victoria saw something die in his eyes. James sent me something. Security footage from the night I proposed to you. Why would he do that? Nathan's hand trembled as he showed her the screen. The footage showed Victoria entering the penthouse. Then another clip. Victoria leaving a cafe earlier that day. Meeting with James. Accepting an envelope. I can explain, Victoria started. But Nathan stepped back like she'd struck him. Can you? Can you explain why my business partner paid you before I even made my offer? Victoria's world tilted. Nathan, no. It's not what it looks like. It looks like you were planted. Like this whole thing was a setup from the beginning. His voice turned to ice. How much did he pay you? Nothing. He approached me, yes, but I didn't take anything. I swear. Then why meet with him at all? Because he told me someone wanted to help me. That there was an opportunity. I didn't know it was you. I didn't know about any of this. Nathan laughed, bitter and broken. God, I'm an idiot. I actually thought this was different. That you were different. I am. Nathan, please listen. I've heard enough lies for one lifetime. He turned away. The contract stands. 1 year. But we're done pretending this is anything more. You're punishing me for something I didn't do. I'm protecting myself from being destroyed again. There's a difference. Victoria grabbed his arm. Look at me. Please. He did. And the walls were back. Higher than ever. I trusted you, Nathan said quietly. That was my mistake. Then trust me now. Trust what we just shared. What we shared was a fantasy. This is reality. He walked to his office, stopped at the door. Sleep well, Mrs. Cross. You've earned your money. The door closed. And Victoria stood alone in the penthouse that had started to feel like home, watching everything she'd just found slip through her fingers. The truth was supposed to set them free. Instead, it had destroyed them. 3 days of silence. 3 days of Nathan avoiding her like plague. 3 days of Victoria feeling her heart crack wider with each passing hour. She'd tried to explain. He wouldn't listen. She'd tried to show him the truth. He wouldn't look. On the 4th day, Victoria found James in the penthouse lobby. You. Rage made her voice shake. Why did you send him that footage? James smiled, cold and calculated. Because Nathan needed to see the truth. The truth? You manipulated me. You approached me first. I gave you an opportunity. What you did with it was your choice. Victoria stepped closer, fury burning through fear. Why? What do you gain from destroying us? Destroying you? My dear, I'm saving Nathan from himself. James straightened his cufflinks. He was actually starting to feel something for you. Can't have that. Feelings make him weak. You're insane. I'm practical. Nathan's empire is built on cold calculation. The moment he starts leading with his heart, everything crumbles. And I've invested too much to watch him throw it away for some starving artist with pretty eyes. You're not his friend. You're his poison. James leaned in, voice dropping. I'm his survival. And once this year is over and you're gone, he'll thank me for keeping him from making the biggest mistake of his life. Victoria slapped him. The crack echoed through the lobby. James touched his reddening cheek, eyes glittering with malice. You just made a very expensive error. Send me the bill. She stormed out, heart hammering. In the elevator, her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mrs. Cross. This is Detective Sarah Chen. I need you to come to the station. It's about your husband. Victoria's blood went cold. What happened? There's been an incident. I'll explain when you arrive. Come alone. The station smelled of burnt coffee and desperation. Detective Chen led Victoria to a small room. What's going on? Is Nathan okay? That depends on your definition of okay. Chen pulled out a file. We received evidence this morning suggesting Nathan Cross has been involved in corporate espionage. Insider trading. Fraud. That's impossible. Is it? Because the evidence is pretty damning. And the source claims it came from you. Victoria's world tilted. What? Chen showed her documents. Financial records. Emails. All with her digital signature. I didn't send these. I've never seen them before. That's what they all say. Detective, I'm being framed. Someone's setting both of us up. Who? Victoria thought of James. His smile. His threats. His business partner. James Weston. That's a serious accusation. I know. But I'm telling the truth. Chen studied her. Why would his partner destroy him? Because Nathan was starting to change. Starting to feel things. And James couldn't control that. The detective leaned back. You know what I think? I think you're a con artist who married a billionaire and now you're trying to cover your tracks. Then why would I come here? Why not run? Because you're smarter than that. You know running makes you look guilty. Victoria's hands shook. Where's Nathan? Being questioned in another room. Does he know about the evidence? That it supposedly came from me? Chen's smile was sharp. He does now. Victoria's heart stopped. I need to see him. That's not possible. Please. You have to let me explain. Explain what? That you betrayed him twice? Through the window, Victoria saw Nathan being led down the hallway in handcuffs. His eyes met hers for 1 second. And what she saw there broke her completely. Betrayal. Rage. And underneath it all, the last dying ember of the man who'd let himself hope. Nathan. She lunged for the door. Chen blocked her. Sit down, Mrs. Cross. He didn't do this. I didn't do this. Then who did? James Weston. He set this whole thing up from the beginning. The marriage, the contract, everything. He wanted to destroy Nathan's ability to trust anyone. Why? Because trust makes Nathan human. And James needs him to be a machine. Chen's expression shifted slightly. That's an interesting theory. It's not a theory. It's the truth. Can you prove it? Victoria thought desperately. The cafe. Where James first approached me. They have cameras. Check the footage. You'll see him paying me to meet with Nathan. Or I'll see you taking a bribe. Check his accounts. His communications. He's been planning this for months. Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then she stood. I'll look into it. But until then, you're both suspects. Don't leave town. What happens to Nathan? He'll be released on bail. His lawyer's handling it. I need to see him. Please. That's up to him. Not me. They released her an hour later. Victoria waited outside the station, rain soaking through her coat. When Nathan finally emerged, a lawyer at his side, he looked like a stranger. Nathan. He kept walking. Please, just let me explain. He stopped, turned. Explain what, Victoria? That you've been working with James to destroy me from the inside? That every moment between us was part of some elaborate con? No. James framed us both. Can't you see that? I see evidence. I see my wife's digital signature on documents that could put me in prison. I see a year of my life wasted on someone who played me perfectly. I'm not playing you. I love you. Nathan's laugh was glass shards. You don't even know what that word means. Neither do you. But we were learning together. We were. He stepped closer, voice dropping to something dangerous. Or were you just following James's script? Look at me. Really look at me. You know I'm telling the truth. Nathan stared at her. For one heartbeat, she saw doubt flicker across his face. Saw him wanting to believe. Then it died. I looked at Juliet too. I saw what I wanted to see. I won't make that mistake again. I'm not Juliet. You're worse. Because I actually thought you were different. He walked away. And Victoria stood in the rain, watching the man she loved disappear into the city. Her phone buzzed. A text from James: "Congratulations. You've just destroyed the one man who might have actually saved you both. Sleep well." Victoria stared at the message. Then she made a decision. If James wanted war, she'd give him war. Even if it cost her everything. Victoria spent 3 days becoming someone she'd sworn she'd never be again. She called her father. The man who'd disowned her. The man whose empire was built on exactly the kind of ruthless calculation Nathan had once embodied. Victoria. I wondered when desperation would bring you back. I need information on James Weston. Everything. His accounts, his deals, his secrets. Her father was quiet. Then, why? Because he's destroying someone I love. And I'm going to stop him. Love? Her father laughed. I thought you'd learned better. I learned that some things are worth fighting for. Even if it destroys you. Silence. Then, I'll have the information by morning. But Victoria, this will cost you. I know. Your trust fund. The one you refused. Take it back, and the information is yours. Stay poor and proud, and you're on your own. Victoria closed her eyes. The trust fund represented everything she'd walked away from. Everything she'd sworn she'd never become. But Nathan was worth it. Deal. 24 hours later, Victoria had everything. Bank records showing James embezzling from Nathan's company. Emails detailing his plan to frame them both. Evidence of bribes paid to falsify documents. She took it all to Detective Chen. This is substantial, Chen admitted. But it doesn't clear you. I'm not trying to clear myself. I'm trying to save him. Why? He doesn't believe you. Because he's worth saving. Even if he never forgives me. Chen studied her. You really love him. More than I've ever loved anything. Then you should know something. Nathan's been conducting his own investigation. Turns out, he never fully believed you betrayed him. He just didn't know how to stop himself from pushing you away. Victoria's heart cracked. Where is he? Meeting with James. Right now. Victoria ran. The restaurant was expensive, exclusive, dangerous. Victoria burst through the doors to find Nathan and James at a corner table. Victoria. Nathan stood, surprise flashing across his face. Don't sign anything. She was breathless, desperate. James has been embezzling from you for 3 years. He framed us both to cover his tracks. James smiled. That's quite an accusation. It's the truth. She threw the folder on the table. Bank records. Emails. Everything. Nathan opened the folder. His face went white. You've been stealing from me. James shrugged. I've been ensuring my own retirement. You were too busy playing house with your little artist to notice. Why? Nathan's voice was quiet. Deadly. Because you were supposed to stay cold. Stay focused. Instead, you started feeling things for her. James gestured at Victoria. You were becoming weak. I couldn't allow it. So you destroyed us. I saved you from yourself. Nathan's fist connected with James's jaw. The crack echoed through the restaurant. James hit the floor, laughing through blood. See? Still have some fight in you after all. Security rushed in. Nathan held up a hand. Call the police. Mr. Weston has some explaining to do. As they led James away, Nathan turned to Victoria. You came back. I never really left. I said terrible things. You were hurt. I understand. I should have trusted you. Victoria stepped closer. You were terrified. That's different. Nathan's hand found her face. I've been terrified since the moment I met you. Terrified of what you made me feel. Terrified of losing you. Terrified of becoming someone who could be hurt again. And now? Now I'm just terrified of living without you. You won't have to. He kissed her. Soft, desperate, real. When they pulled apart, Victoria whispered, I took the trust fund. Sold my soul to save yours. You shouldn't have. I'd do it again. 1,000 times. Nathan pressed his forehead to hers. The bet with Marcus. I'm going to lose it. Why? Because I was supposed to make you fall in love with me. Instead, I fell for you. Completely. Irrevocably. Victoria smiled through tears. Sounds like you both lost and won. I'll lose the contracts. My father's legacy. You'll still have his most important legacy. What's that? The ability to love someone despite the risk. That's what he'd want you to remember. Nathan pulled her close. Marry me. We're already married. No. That was a contract. This is real. Marry me because you want to. Because you love me. Because you can't imagine a life without me. Yes. Victoria laughed, crying. Yes to all of it. 6 months later, they stood on the same courthouse steps. Different ceremony. Real flowers. Real vows. I was a machine when I met you, Nathan said. You taught me how to be human again. I was broken when I met you, Victoria replied. You taught me that broken things can still be beautiful. They kissed, and the world felt new. Marcus Rothschild showed up at their reception, $5 million check in hand. I lost the bet. Fair and square. He handed it to Nathan. But I'm keeping the contracts. I don't want them. Marcus blinked. What? Keep them. Use them. I don't need my father's legacy anymore. Nathan looked at Victoria. I'm building my own. You're serious. Completely. Marcus studied them both. Then smiled. You know what? I think you actually won after all. I know I did. As the party continued around them, Nathan and Victoria slipped away to the balcony. No regrets, he asked. Only that we wasted time being afraid. We're not afraid anymore. No. We're not. They stood there, two people who'd started as strangers bound by contract, now bound by something infinitely more powerful. Love had seemed impossible. Trust had seemed foolish. Hope had seemed dangerous. But they'd found all three in the ruins of who they used to be. And sometimes, the best love stories are the ones that break you first. So you can rebuild yourself into something stronger. Together. Nathan pulled Victoria close. Thank you. For what? For not giving up on me. Even when I gave up on myself. We saved each other. Yes. We did. The city sparkled below them. Full of other people, other stories, other chances. But this was theirs. A billionaire who learned to feel. An artist who learned to hope. A bet that became the most honest thing either of them had ever done. I love you, Nathan whispered. I love you too. And in that moment, they were both finally, completely free. The end.